Hello and welcome to the Chase the Vibe podcast. I'm your host Brooke, and in today's episode we have Peter Hull. Pete is the founder and CEO of Fitstop, the home of functional fitness, and has gone from owning one single location to franchising nearly 90. We chat about his journey to now, the most challenging part of the process so far, and what the future looks like. Hint, it involves Fitstop going global. Here's Pete. Hello, Pete. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for jumping in on a session just then.
I know, I was a little bit worried. Jace was saying, Pete's coming down and throwing down a session. I'm like, great, right before the podcast. But listen, it was good. It was great.
It's fun to take a session with Rhino, one of our original trainers, and also he does a lot of work with you guys. So it was a bit of fun.
He's so good. And he's just, and like you said, he was your original trainer. So you've known him for quite a long time.
Yeah. So 2017 when we franchised, he was part of that first franchise. So Fitstop Slacks Creek, he was their original trainer.
Yeah.
He's been a part of the family ever since.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, our mission is to inspire people to chase the vibe, and that's one of the first questions I like to ask people. So how do you chase the vibe?
I love fitness. Obviously, running a fitness company, but growing up, movement was so important. So for me, it's however I can move every single day. And we talk at Fitstop, if we move more, we live more. And that's what we do. So, for me, it's getting up and running, obviously training in Fitstop. It's signing up to random events, whether it be running the Gold Coast Half. Didn't run the full like Jason and a few of the boys, but, just running the Gold Coast Half or signing up to a triathlon or being able to travel. Just came back from Europe and every day it was running or, experiencing a different gym. So for me, it's movement. Yeah,
definitely. I did see all of your pics on Instagram of you traveling Europe. Was that a holiday?
It was a holiday,
or a working holiday as well? Or?
No, it's the first time Beck and I have taken some time out of the business for probably 4 or 5 years where, we got to go experience life, chase the vibe a little bit, and kind of, see what the world was doing. So 4 weeks away was incredible. Obviously, you never really disconnect. Fitstop is our baby, so you're always having those touch points. But yeah, it was good to go live a little.
Yeah, it looked amazing. I think everyone's in Europe at the moment. It's the place to be, and I don't blame everyone because we haven't been able to travel for
How good's traveling again, yeah.
A little while. So I'm excited to get back out and do a bit more travel myself. Going back to growing up, where it all started, because Jace from growing up, and I want to learn a little bit about, we will get into Fitstop and the amazing thing you've done there, but I feel like we've got to go back and see how it all started. And you were riding a motocross, weren't you? Yeah,
so I met Jace when I think I was 15. I think he's a year older than me. We actually moved to Mount Cotton. We were fortunate enough to move to some acreage and have a motocross track in the front yard, and Jace lived 4 doors up from me, so we knew of each other through racing, and I rode over to his house one day and we started hanging out and riding together, training together, and probably really grew up together. That age between kind of 15 and 21, it's a pretty interesting stage of your life where you learn a lot, and really fortunate that we got to be surrounded by each other and a bunch of other really good friends. And we had a lot of fun, learnt a lot through motocross, and I think I contribute a lot of what we learnt through that phase to probably where we both are now in business as well.
What was the goal for motocross, to go pro, to kind of follow that through as long as you could, or was it just something that you really enjoyed doing?
Yeah, I think that was probably both our dreams. We were always kind of pushing each other, and we had a pretty good circle of friends that wanted to chase the dream to be a professional athlete. We definitely didn't get there. Both of us had a number of injuries. He started an apprenticeship as a carpenter, as a chippy. I did an apprenticeship as a motorcycle mechanic. So we were trying to, chase the dream as a professional athlete, work full time, and then at the same time live a bit of a life as you would when you're turning 18 and 19 and having a bit of fun as well. So really, I guess, pretty dedicated and disciplined around our sport. And it was a lot of fun.
I feel like you both have lived similar lives, like in different ways, but both growing up wanting to be professional, motocross riders, and then now turn the page. Both have amazing businesses. And I always joke, and I said this to you before we started, like, was there something in the water? Both from Logan, in the surrounds, both did motocross, and now you're in these amazing positions at similar times. What was there, a bit of magic going around, or what's the go?
I think as you grow up and, especially kind of as you grow a business, but if I reflect back, that circle of influence you have around you, are you striving for more? And I guess chasing the dream as an athlete, it was always striving for more. So, you kind of turn a senior athlete, you're then kind of coming up through the ranks of amateur into pro and at different levels. So whether it be state-based or nationally. And we had that little bit of competitive nature, I guess. If Jace did better, I'd be chasing him down and vice versa. And there was probably 3 or 4 years there was a bit of rivalry to the point that, if he moved to a different, bike manufacturer or, he got 2 bikes and I only had 1 or, whatever it was looking like, racing different fields, it was kind of chasing that next stage. And I think that's probably what I put a bit of it down to. It was one, a good circle of influence, had amazing families around us as well, and everyone was really supportive. It was that dedication and discipline to chasing what was next. And you get thrown a lot of hurdles, right? It's like those curveballs that come at you when you can't control it, whether it be an injury, or even just kind of different stages as you grow into that next phase as an athlete, learning to kind of move to that next stage still, or having that resilience where it's like, hey, okay, I need to take a bit of a step back, take a breather, but I know that I'm going to get back to where I was, and more importantly, kind of that next stage from that. So yeah, I think when you race motocross, you hit the ground a lot. You got to get back up real quick and keep moving forward, and I think that's it's the same as business.
Yeah, like an athlete
mindset. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely comes across to a business mindset.
And we talk about that in Fitstop. And one of our values is performance. Performance for me is athlete's mindset and always moving forward. Yeah, what's that solution-based thinking? How do I get to that next phase? No is never an answer. So I think all of that. Both of us kind of, found our, wanting to kind of push the boundaries and take everyone with us on that journey. It's pretty exciting.
And when you were a motor mechanic, you were fixing Jace's bike.
Yeah. My dad, he had that skill set as well, high performance mechanic, and he was working on Jace and I's bike, and then I kind of took over from that as well. And when I was injured, when I had my first knee reconstruction, I was going to the tracks most of the time with Jace and a bunch of other athletes, and doing what I could just to be around it still. It was super exciting. Again, learnt a lot and have grown a lot for it, I think.
And you said first knee reconstruction. Was there more?
Yeah, I had 2 within kind of 12 months from each other, and that's kind of got what helped me fall in love with fitness, rehabilitation, mobility, sports performance. Because after you do a second one and you're told you probably shouldn't race a dirt bike anymore, and the second time it's a lot harder to recover from. Your kind of dream is coming to an end, so when you can't do anymore, you teach, and I fell in love with that, and I fell in love with then paying it forward and kind of living through a few of my buddies who were kind of turning pro, and that's kind of where really Fitstop stems from.
And how old were you when you had the second knee reconstruction?
I think it was 22. So first one was like maybe just turned 20. So it's at that time in your life that you think you can take on the world. You think you're really close to kind of turning pro. It's, again, Jason and I did the same thing. It was like race state-based, move international stuff. I got to go to the US and do a bunch of training over there. It's like you're getting super excited and you're getting sponsors and all that stuff. That's when Loose Kid was around, right? And I think it might have just merged into LKI then. It was an exciting time. And when you're 20, 21 and then you're told you can't kind of do your sport anymore, or, you need to consider a different path in life, it can be quite challenging.
At 21, having to think about that, do I go back to motocross? Do I do something else? Was that a pretty challenging time? Yeah,
I was probably still a little bit naive. I thought, if I go and study and maybe I can learn more than maybe the doctors around me or the physios I've seen or the PTs I've seen, then maybe I can recover and be back there. But through that process was where I probably found myself in that next chapter, that adversity of you can't do this, and me probably being maybe a little bit arrogant and thinking I could. That led me into falling in love with learning more about the body, and I went on my own rehab journey. I got really strong, really fit, but I fell in love with the process.
And because that's when you decided, I'm going to jump on and study to be a PT. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I went and studied to be a PT. I met an amazing physiotherapist that worked in high performance sporting teams, and he started training me for free from his house. And again, that was a big pivotal moment for me in my life. So that first one was, well, you're broken and you can't do what you love, find something else. Went and studied to try to learn how I could be not broken and move forward. But then meeting some amazing people that were super supportive, that wanted to give me education to kind of help me in my path. I wanted to then pay it forward from there. So I got to go and learn and study under some amazing people. I wanted to use that skill set on friends, on people that were trying to chase the dream or chase the vibe, just like I was. And I really fell in love with that process of looking at human performance and how I could get people to that next level by just making these simple, small tweaks and having a little bit of experience and knowledge and a bit of depth to make those key decisions. And that's something that I didn't have, Jace didn't have. We used to cycle, we used to go, to his mum's aerobics classes, we used to swim, all that fun stuff. But there was no dedicated training program that was, aimed to help us in our personal journey to be an athlete. So that was my next chapter.
So early 20s, you're like, here's a gap in the market.
I probably, to be honest, I didn't even think about the market. It was, looking back now, I can tell the story and say it was a niche that I got to craft my skill set. But the reality was I was a washed up athlete that was trying to find himself. I fell in love with another element, and I wanted to work out how I could teach this, how I could kind of pay it forward. And maybe selfishly, how I could still be around the sport, still be around athletes and feel that sense of accomplishment and achievement and progression. And that's how it started. I was training people for free. I was traveling. A lot of sacrifice comes with that. Beck, my wife, was super supportive. We were only just dating in that stage. Beck was one of Ali's great friends. So I met Beck through Jace and Ali. And, it was another interesting time of my life where, probably for 3 years, it was always about like, how am I building this skill set? Because I just wanted to help people. There was no financial element, from it. But, fortunately now we've been able to build a great business from it.
Yeah. And you mentioned 87 locations you've got now.
Yeah.
So isn't it crazy? And I know we all have to start somewhere, but the sacrifice that you have to take and that everyone has to take at the beginning, you can look at yourself and go, wow, Pete is so successful. But it's like, hang on, I was back here a few years ago doing all this for free just to get my, name out there and to build and to learn. So when you were doing them for free, how long did you do that for, and when did you then decide, maybe there's something a bit more in this?
So obviously working with athletes and traveling, a lot of the expenses and things like that were covered. Fortunately, I was still a motorbike mechanic, right? So I could work on the side, and the way that I was getting income to support or to contribute a tiny bit to Beck and I's life was working on motorbikes, was going to the track and doing coaching. The fitness thing was kind of almost the side hustle that I was just investing in. It was my true passion, but I knew I still needed to be able to live. So my revenue sources were coaching motocross, working on motorbikes. Majority of my life was taking up though of that, building that craft, that skill set, that kind of, the 10,000 hour rule in fitness. I was able to get to a stage that, we went from being a PT and working directly with athletes to building out a group fitness model to, renting a really small space, to the point that, Beck sold a Toyota Corolla to fund in the equipment. Like, there's just been, time and time again, sacrificing to get to that next stage and phase. But it was because we had such a big belief that, one, I was super passionate about it. And if I'm passionate about something, I'm not going to lose. But two, this is what our future was going to be. So you just double down, burn the boats and go all in. Yeah.
So selling the Toyota Corolla to fund that first fit out?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I found through a friend of a friend in motocross, found a supplier in China, imported the equipment for our first group fitness facility, spent $18,000. The equipment turned up 2 days before we opened. We fitted it out. My first 30 clients turned into group fitness members, and that's how it began.
Were the first 30 athletes, was that still focused around athletes, or you'd kind of moved away from directly working with athletes and kind of just anyone in the community? Yeah,
well, so localized, we started in the Redlands. So had a number of athletes that were traveling to train with me, but it wasn't an everyday piece. It was, 2 or 3 times a week, I would do a one-on-one session with them. They started to then join some of my group stuff, and probably more amateur athletes were doing that. But then it started to spread, their friends and family, local clients that were coming to me that wanted to get a result with a really simple program. And again, this was 2013, so no real big social media following at all. It was just purely based off, I guess, that organic raving fan that was, hey, I've trained with Pete, I've done a PT, absolutely loved it, getting great results, you've got to go see him. And that's how we started. To be honest, that's how we grew for the first couple of years as well.
So it spread like wildfire.
Yeah. I think having still that connection with athletes, amateur athletes especially, to be able to build out the program and make sure that we were really authentic to how we were growing, how we were training, what I was learning, and reinvesting in myself, and then distributing that to a wider market. That was super important, and it's something we still do. So, it was a super interesting first year, going from being a PT, traveling a lot, doing a lot of online, to then renting a space, fitting it out, being the only trainer, still working on bikes, still going to motocross tracks, still traveling every weekend to events. It was a busy time where, the revenue still wasn't there, but developed a plan and stuck to the plan, and it's paying off.
Yeah, absolutely doing every little bit to make sure that works, because you were obviously really passionate about making it work. So you were like, I have to put in the work to see results. And I think it's important as well, like when you're going into business, you need to understand that you're going to have to pay bills, and again, kind of developing my skill set and craft as a PT was one thing, but entering into the business world was a completely different world, and the level of complexity, and then bringing team members on and paying rent and insurances and all that stuff. It's something that you really need to be serious about. I learned that very quickly, and fortunately, again, I was able to surround myself with some great people. I did a number of business development courses. I learnt from the right people, and I had the right people in my corner that supported the growth element. They would encourage me when I was doing well, but also pull me up when I was missing some pieces. And I think that's really important. You've got to be coachable, and that's also what sport taught me. Yeah, absolutely. You can't be like, I know everything, just get out of my way, I'm just going to go forward. It's that balance between having the right people around that are going to give you advice, and some advice you can take on, and then those around you going, oh, that's a terrible idea. It's like finding the right people is really important.
Absolutely. And then just doing the work. You can't be scared to do the hours. Like, I wasn't just all in on being a PT and turning it into group fitness and hoping that paid the bills. At the same time, I was still working probably 40 or 50 hours doing the thing that was bringing revenue in. And most weeks, all that revenue was just going to paying rent. So it was, yes, going all in on something, but not being silly about it. You still need to live. You still need to be able to pay rent. You still need to be focused on what growth in business looks like. Reinvest every cent, and you're going to get to a stage there that you can start to settle, take a breath, and think about strategy.
And that first gym you opened, that wasn't Fitstop, was it?
Yeah, so good point. My first brand was actually P2P. So my mum came up with the name. She thought I could give people the power to perform. That's what it stood for. And the first gym we opened was P2P's Fitstop. So when we were going to the tracks, I was taking a physiotherapist, we're doing warm-ups, we're going to all these events, we're doing pop-ups, right? Stuff like you guys do, back to the grassroots. We were doing those things, and in motorsport, it's called a pit stop. So we called it a Fitstop. And that's where the name comes from. I don't tell that story enough, but yeah, that's where the name comes from. So the first location was P2P's Fitstop, because it was considered more of the program we were distributing all through our athletes. You could now come into a facility and do that and experience it firsthand and get probably a more personalized experience or service in a group environment. I was training everyone, I was writing the programs, but it was the program I was distributing to athletes that were following it, that was getting the results. So, as we grew the brand, we dropped the P2P piece, and we really became, the home of functional fitness, and that's Fitstop.
Yeah, I love the power to perform though, because good on your mum for coming up with that, because it's quite unique, and it really fits that athlete program. Yeah. But now moving into where it is. Yeah. With that first gym or location, was that, so you've obviously tweaked from there the program.
Yep.
Yes.
We have, and you just said gym, then location. We call them a location because of Fitstop, Pit Stop. It's where you go. It's where you immerse yourself. We talk about the home of functional fitness. For me, that's all about home is safety, security. It's where you feel welcomed. It's your safe place to be yourself and go on your journey. And that's what Fitstop's about. So we were able to take the methodology that I built out for training athletes, and what it really comes down to is a periodized S&C program. It's something that's built out that no matter where you come into Fitstop, you can do the base level training and you can progress. So as a Fitstopper, I've been training for 9 or 8 years in the program. And every day it still challenges me, right? Because I'm going to move faster. I'm going to move a heavier weight. I'm going to tailor it to me in a group environment. I'm going to train with my friends. We're going to spot each other. We're going to provide a level of support and encourage each other to keep moving forward. And that's what the program does. So, we franchised, we scaled, we've built incredible business systems, and that's really important to me. But the base methodology always stays the same. Like even at a programming level, we go back to photos, images of Redland Bay and look at the blackboards that we had and zoom in and like, oh, what did we do for that piece again? And when we changed this, what did that do? And the business is way more complex now. We've got an internal data scientist that reviews every session, our attendance, our attritions, what different seasonal components do, what holidays does for our membership. So,
wow.
We own our whole tech stack. We do all the billing. We look at everyone's data when they record their 3 rep max, their 5K run. We're about to do this whole wearable program. But it all comes back down to the same thing. Like all that stuff's great. It's the nice to haves. But at the end of the day, we're an S&C program. Yep. It's designed to take athletes on a journey from where they are right now to where they need to get to. Yep. We talk about a Fitstopper, being an everyday athlete like you guys do as well. And for us, it's, how do we get people to move more so they can live more?
Yeah. I love the Fitstop program because you get a bit of everything throughout the week. It's not just one program and data, off you go.
Yeah.
And I love that every location has the same workout each day because we would come into the office and I'd say, oh, how was the session? And even though I didn't go to the same Fitstop as that next person, we could totally come in and relate to how hard it was or what we really enjoyed about that particular session. And it builds community when you're not even in the same gym. Absolutely. Like you're not in the same, we're in different, I'm on the Gold Coast, there in the Brisbane. Yep. So I think that's really special having that, and now going to be global, right?
Yeah, and
not just around Australia.
It was fascinating when you start to build these communities, and it's actually the members that start giving feedback. If for whatever reason a session was tweaked or changed in one of our locations, members would give direct feedback that it shouldn't have been changed. It was the members holding accountability to trainers to go, hey, why are we doing that? My friend's doing this, or Fitstop, his program is this, and that's what has kept us really consistent across board through our messaging, through our social media, through our workouts. It's that people buy into our workout methodology, they respect it, they understand it, they know it's going to get them an amazing result. We're definitely not changing the game when it comes to a program. I've kept it really simple from the start. It's periodized S&C programming. It's designed to get your results, take you on a journey and put you in the position that you want to be, you deserve to be, again, so that you can move more and live more. I just went and traveled for 4 weeks. The reason I got up every day and either ran or did some movement was so that I felt great for the day. If I don't train, I'm not feeling me. Yep. Especially when you travel, right? You get lower back pain, you're on airplanes, you're on buses. For me, it's, what can you do inside Fitstop? How is that going to enable you then to really kind of progress your life and how you're living and events that you want to sign up for or kick the ball with your kids or whatever it looks like?
Yeah, no, I love that. And going from that first location to, where we are now, there's how many years has it been since the first location?
4 years. So it's 2017 to now. I rewind. 2013, opened our very first location. That's P2P's Fitstop. I then moved that one into a retail space in Victoria Point. We really developed the program. We bring in this 6-week challenge. we still have that athlete mindset where, we're training Red Bull athletes, had Logan Martin come and train with us for a number of years. The same with triathlete, BMX, motocross, all that stuff. But it started to really spread because we developed a program that got results for people, and we had a lot of fun doing it. We built out a great brand in that local area. I built out some amazing trainers. We really started to attract something that was quite different in the space. We then opened a second location in Morningside. That one did really well. I didn't believe in pre-sales, which is crazy to think now. We opened up until location number 8 with no pre-sale.
Really?
I believed that if you build it, they'll come. Yeah. Throw a big event, do a lot of brand awareness and saturate the market with, the excitement, the FOMO of Fitstop coming and have a huge party. But that's what we did for location number 2. It was about Fitstop coming to a new environment, building a new community, and you could be a part of it if you wanted to be. So, we opened Morningside. We had 150 people turn up on day 1. It was crazy. It was organized chaos. We didn't expect it. In one session, 150 people. Very fortunate. It was a bigger space. So I also wanted to see, okay, what would it look like if I had a bigger space? How could that work? Same program, same methodology, but could I fit more people in? Would it be the same vibe? Yeah. Very, very, very fortunate that it had a huge car park out the front. So we created an event. We had a number of stations out the front, 150 people moving at one time. We had 50 people sign up on day 1. And then it just turned into this, referral process of sign up to the 6-week challenge, get amazing results, refer your friends. We built out Fitstop's free week, open the doors up to the community, come and trial us. We had amazing organic growth, and it wasn't until, so that was 2015, maybe started 2016, we opened that. It was 2016 we opened that. Started 2017, we decided to franchise, and it was purely because 2 locations doing incredibly well, amazing managers and trainers in there that were loving life, and it's something I hadn't seen in the fitness space before. Built incredible communities that were almost encouraging me and asking me what's next. I love progression, obviously athlete mindset. Yeah. And we decided to franchise. Chris and Christy decided that they wanted to be the first real franchise in Slacks Creek. They were my original members. They're friends with Jason Alley as well. They are. And we just had a crack at it. It was, we had great systems, but for the first 8 locations, it was all hands on deck. I was the only full-time employee at Fitstop HQ. We sold the first 2 locations to the managers. We used that money to then fund in the franchise model. So again, it's like you got to burn the boat. So if I wanted to create a franchise, it was cool. I need to prove this. I'll take those funds. I'll invest that. I'll double down again, which is what I've done year on year. And we'll create something special. Went on a pretty incredible journey over the next couple of years. Learned a lot, but really proud of what we've built.
Yeah. Was it really challenging working out how to franchise? Did that take you a lot of late nights to figure out, is this the right thing to do? How do I even go about doing this? Because going from opening a gym, or a location, that's one challenge in itself, and there are a lot of sacrifices made to do that. But then realize, like, sharing a piece of the pie, essentially. How did you feel about doing all that, or was it just you just had that vision of this is what I want to do? Yeah,
at the start I didn't think about it, to be honest. It was I wanted to be able to replicate this and give people an opportunity that I've had to live a life in the fitness world, create communities, and be financially rewarded for it. Fortunately, had some great people around me. Again, it's always been, well, I don't know this, so who do I find? Pretty early on, we had a board. We had a couple of investors that came in that had prior knowledge in franchising in business, and obviously you build out a team. I was friends with Sam and Ben Carsons from Asai Brothers. Yeah. They had just, Redlands boys, they'd franchised, so a lot of conversations with them, but it was really like, who can I bring around this brand, and how can I learn from people that have been there and done that? How do we make sure we do it differently? Because, even then in 2017, franchising was an interesting space where it was probably really only focused on for food and beverage. There was a couple of people in the fitness industry that were doing it well and some that weren't. So I didn't really get caught up too much in franchising in general, or even fitness. It was, what are our rules going to be? How can we really provide something quite unique and special to our owners? Probably most importantly, how can we scale this so that we can impact more lives? I've always been really product driven. It's always been member experience first. Then it's how do I educate a trainer? How do I support a business owner to grow and scale? And that's how we've been able to do it.
And now you have a bit of a formula that you just can roll out each time.
Yeah, and that's franchising.
It makes it a lot easier.
It does, yeah. There's a lot of moving parts, but we've got experts in each department now. And as an example, when you come in and you're interested in Fitstop to own a franchise, you go through a funnel of education first. You meet an amazing team. My wife Beck heads up the growth team, and you're going to be chatting to her to learn more about the Fitstop journey and what it means to be a Fitstop owner and part of our community and family, what it takes to get open. Once you've got through that process and you've secured your area, then you have a leasing team that supports you. You then kind of move into project management. We support through build. It's a process that we're in business together. So when you sign up to Fitstop and become part of the family, it's genuinely that. We're bouncing off each other. You are a business owner, so you're absolutely taking responsibility for those next stages and phases, but it's completely mapped out and it's a proven system. Now, when we get into pre-sale, so when you've got started build and we know your open date, we've got an expert in pre-sale that just looks after what it means to build your OG community, and that's a vital part to our business. When we launch really strong, the momentum's there. You get that raving fan. You show that new community what Fitstop's all about, the history and heritage of where we've come from, but how we're creating these awesome micro communities that everyone's really proud of. Every location gets their own number and their opening date on their welcome wall. It's something we're super proud of to showcase that we are a growing community. We're impacting more lives, and we're bringing this to a new community, a new community of business owners as well. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned you had some investment early on. Was that some funding?
Yeah, it was more for people. So those early stages was again like, who do we need around us in Fitstop, whether it be kind of through mentorship or advisory. It was, what does this business actually look like? It was completely it's always been organically funded until we got to 2018, where we did then take some investment on board. We had a few shareholders jump on, really micro, and it was just to fast track that growth. We had got to a stage that we were about 18 locations. It was still a really small team, and we knew that we needed to really double down and invest in technology and support so that we could first and foremost look after the locations we had, provide amazing foundations, and then be able to grow and scale. So we've been through 3 investment rounds to date. The latest one has been through Lift Brands.
Yeah, that's a huge one, isn't it? Because that's the growth for the US. Is that correct? Or
so the first stage they invested in kind of midway through COVID. We finalized that deal mid last year, and it was because they had identified that we can be that next big thing in fitness. And for me, it was, again, who do we surround ourselves by that's been there and done that, that gives us a vehicle to tap into new markets and lean on for a little bit of support. So the reason we partnered with them, in my eyes, they're our big brother. Where they're in the 24-hour fitness world. They're an American-based business that's been able to scale globally. They've been there, done that. They've made their own mistakes, and that's how the relationship's treated. They're still minority shareholder. Beck and I are still the largest shareholders. We only have 3 people on the board. We're really clear on where we're heading, but it's nice to have that big brother in our corner. Again, we're surrounding ourselves with the right people, so we limit our mistakes and we keep moving forward.
Yeah, how important is that to be able to have those people, like you said, in your corner?
Yeah.
Because without them, I'm sure the mistakes would be even bigger, which you need mistakes to learn.
For sure.
But maybe some smaller ones that, doesn't impact the business.
Yeah, definitely. Look, we have a clear roadmap to grow globally. Australia and New Zealand is absolutely the core operational focus. We've got such a great team in Australia. We've just opened up our new office. Our team's grown to 22 people in HQ. We've got our micro team in New South Wales. That's an area of opportunity and fast growth that's about to happen. Just hired a GM in New Zealand, and on Monday I'm off to America, and we're starting the journey there. But for me, it's absolutely focused first and foremost on Australia. We've got so much work to do here still, an opportunity for growth. But part of that Lift brand strategy was, what's that roadmap to the US? how do we test the waters there? How do we build some communities, and let's see where it takes us.
One question that popped up in my head when I was trying to think of, what do I want to know is, what do you think the most challenging part throughout this has been? Was it opening the first one because you were on your own essentially, or with Beck as well?
Yeah.
Or was it the 50th location? Like, was there a time that you can think, or was it during COVID that was the most challenging time?
There's probably two parts. One's personally and professionally. So if I break that down, personally, always the biggest challenge for me is how quickly can I grow, and what do I need to learn? I'm completely self-taught. I was a motorbike mechanic, that fell in love with fitness, that now is trying to lead a global fitness community. So that kind of check-in for me daily is super important. I've got to make sure I'm kind of keeping up. I think there's, the saying, a business will never outgrow its founder, and I'm really conscious of that. And that's why it's really important for me to be surrounded by the right people, stay, humble, and keep learning. I'm hopefully never the smartest person in the room, but I'm always striving for what's next, and I'm always going to act with a heap of integrity to why the brand was created in the first place. So that's always my personal challenge. Making sure that I'm kind of stepping into that next phase. But from a business standpoint, it's been an incredible roller coaster. It's a massive emotional roller coaster for everyone involved. Franchising is a big beast. You've got a lot of stakeholders. You're thinking about the member, you're thinking about the trainer, the manager, the owner. People are investing into Fitstop for their next phase and stage in life. There's a lot riding on that. It's a decent investment to start a Fitstop. So you've got a big responsibility to that. So you've got all of these business owners, 87 business owners that are following a system. They're going to need elements of support, that are going to need to understand at all times what the why is and what direction we're heading in. And they're all going to be on different phases of their life as well. So to create a team that can understand that internally, and to have business owners that really buy into that, support that, and have empathy both ways, that we're all doing the same job, striving for the same results, heading in the same direction. And COVID showed that. COVID amplified all of those things, really high emotion at all times, with a lot riding on it, everything riding on it, right? You've got all these business owners that are doing the best they possibly can to keep their communities moving, but also to stay in business, to keep their trainers employed. It's a challenging time. So that was definitely testing, but I'm super proud how we came out of it. We're able to launch, Fitstop at home, do a whole brand refresh, came out of it and opened locations. We saw incredible growth, and I think it's because we really came together. Now, one of our values is community. We talk about being stronger together, and when times get tough, you've got to lean in. And that's what happens still to date. If there's some stuff that's happening in the network that I need to address, and maybe I haven't communicated well, or we have made a mistake internally, the first thing I'm going to do is, here's a Zoom link. I'm going to chat to everyone tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Hear me out. Jump on, address the network, everything from a trainer, an owner, a manager. Let's talk through it. This is my plan forward, and let's do it together.
I think that's really important, because I assume as well, if you've got so many different people in so many different locations, if something pops up where they're like, I'm really frustrated about this, but then they can get on a call the next morning and actually just have a conversation with you about it. And then leaving that, they'd be like, okay, that makes sense. If they're anything like me, I'll get real flustered about something, and then you have a conversation, you're like, actually, never mind, it's not even a big deal, or, this is how we're going to move forward. So, communication is key, right? It
is, and that's what we learned through COVID. So we didn't, and it's okay not to have the answer all the time. Another big lesson for me, because I'm a problem solver, I'm opportunistic. I want to know that this is the next 10 steps, but it's okay not to have the answers, but to communicate it. So, through that COVID piece, it was, I think it was 9 a.m. every morning until we had a really clear plan, and I would address, this is the next 24 hours, guys, that's all I can give you. But then moving forward from that, that communication piece is vital. And, we have an amazing team in office that is constantly working on that. But as we scale, we're also working on building better systems so we can be at the front of the game. So we have what we call our Fitstop Academy. It's an L&D program that every system is built out on that. It's anchored learning. So it comes with a video, it comes with an explanation, it comes with a test. And the first thing now that we really encourage, again, anyone in the team, owner, trainer, manager, is if we don't really understand this, first of all, go to that. Let's educate ourselves. Let's take accountability because we are all business owners. We want to move the thing forward, and that's how we can now scale. And we still do a bunch of face-to-face, but we've really seen a big dynamic change since bringing that in.
Yeah, right. So is it what's within that academy?
Everything you need to know about a Fitstop. So everything, learning how to have a conversation with a leasing agent in early days. What you need to, at a business owner level, what you can bring us to help facilitate negotiation of a lease or town planning, the whole build process. Then the whole pre-launch piece. Bringing on employees, building out teams, running weekly meetings, and then from a tactical level, monthly, our marketing plans are distributed through it. All of our programming is distributed through it. So it's become a pretty big moving beast. It's our operational plan. It's our manual, our Bible,
How cool is
and that's
that?
the go-to source. Yeah,
You can become an expert in all different types of the different stages.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's the goal. Look, we're still early stages. We've got a long way to go, but for us, it's about the other side to business is that progression. If we can help trainers come on board and build amazing careers and potentially become managers, even owners or part owners, that would be amazing for us to see. And I always go back to, again, grassroots. I was a PT that was able to build a business, and I want others to do the same. We want to be able to scale. We want to be able to have amazing owners that have multi-site, that are looking at fitness as an amazing investment, financial return, but also a give back into communities. And we're getting there.
Yeah, and I heard really great things from the Fitstop at home.
Yeah.
I wasn't around or when that was happening, but I heard some really great things because it was. You had to pivot.
Yes.
I feel like pivot's the word. I hate using that word just because it's used anyway. Yes. But people were jumping on at I don't know a whole lot about it, but in the mornings and they would normally jump on, and they were able to still do it with everyone around them.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was the same experience through the app. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. So we were able to. I was really fortunate. Had made a pretty big investment into building our own tech stack, which was first and foremost a billing and booking system that you could download the Fitstop app, put your phone number in, verify it, just the same as Airbnb or Uber. You could select your location and you could do your first session for free. I wanted to have no barrier to entry, and we were new in the market. So when people asked about Fitstop, instead of comparing us to CrossFit or F45, we'd say, hey, you got to experience us. Come in, trial us out. We'll talk to you all about our program. But your first step is just walking through that door. So we built technology stack that did that. We made everything really simple. So after their first session, it would prompt them. They could double tap Apple Pay. You were signed up as a Fitstopper. We're in testing phase of that when COVID hit and everyone got shut down. Within 24 hours, we pushed everything forward really quickly, and we launched Fitstop at home through the same system.
Wow.
So overnight, we had 60% of our members re-sign up to Fitstop at home, which the membership rate was then at a discount because we wanted to support all of our members. But at the same time, we needed to keep our businesses in business. Yeah. So the revenue then flowed through to our business owners. Our members, everything we did was went to market saying we want to keep our members safe but keep them moving. And my big thing was if we could keep routine and habit and discipline, then we're going to find a bit more connection. So as a Fitstop at home member, you would still book your sessions for the week. The only difference was you would wake up in the morning or in the afternoon. You would open the app, you would go into the calendar, and instead of walking into a Fitstop, you would just press launch. It would open up, obviously, a webinar. You would be able to see your trainer, all your friends that you would normally see at a Fitstop. Your trainer would take you through the session. You would connect straight after, and you would get on with your day. Yeah. And that was super important for us. It showed that I think it built a lot of trust in the brand. And helped us to come out of COVID really strong. But most importantly, we kept our community moving.
Yeah. Humans need routine. So
absolutely.
When that was, COVID came and shook everything up, to be able to feel like it was no different except for you were at home, I think would have been really important because each of those people were able to keep their same routine, and then that in turn would help mental health. And
definitely.
Yeah. So awesome. Good on you for being able to roll that out.
And it was a crazy couple of weeks, starting that process. But again, really grateful that all of our business owners really bought into it. We knew we didn't have a lot of options and trusted that we would come out of it, and we came out of it really strong.
And what does the future look like? Because you would have a bit of an idea of, is it 2 years, is it 5 years, is it 10 years, is it a 20-year plan? Like, what is going through your head for the future?
Yeah, we constantly have that 10-year stretch target. For us, like I said, first and foremost, we want to make a huge impact in Australia and New Zealand. We've got an incredible team here. It's always how do we become a household name? Because a household name means trust. Yeah. And if we can do that, then I'll be super happy. So, the next couple of years, it's, we know we can keep focused on opening profitable locations, impact community. We've just started launching into New Zealand, so that's going to be a big priority for our team here.
Where's the first location for New Zealand?
We've got Hamilton Central open. We've got Riccarton opening in a couple of weeks, and then New Plymouth after that. There's about 8 sold there, so all in the process of going through, and finding sites and town planning and build. Yeah. It is it's a complex process to open properly a training facility, a gym. But again, it's a franchise, so we have you every step of the way. Yeah. But outside of that, we want to become a global fitness community. So those next steps is researching, investigating, building a early stage team in the US, building that first location, really proving the model and the concept and fine tuning, and then from there we'll see where it goes. But yeah, that 10-year is how do we build a global fitness community that makes a genuine impact, that creates amazing businesses for our business owners, and do something special in this space.
Absolutely. And the US, when do you think you'll be able to launch it over there? Is that all kind of in the works as well? Is there anything?
Yeah, it's all in the works. So heading there Monday, we've got a team of 2 there. Where we're starting the process around identifying key buildings, key areas, key communities. The goal is to open by mid next year. All going well, it'll be early next year. My personal goal is March, April. But there's still a lot of unknowns, and we don't take that lightly. There'll be a lot of travel for me over the next couple of months to really sink my teeth in and investigate it. There's a lot of data you can look at, but nothing beats that kind of hands-on touch feel. What does your gut say? And I'll definitely go with that over the next couple of months.
Yeah, on the ground, so important.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can actually get over there now, it's I can see you probably being in there over there half of the year to learn and to grow and to see what it's really all about.
Yeah, for sure. And our hub's still here. We've got an amazing team here. All of our tech, our brand, our product. So from a fitness level, our programming, everything's developed here from Australia, and we want to make sure that stays that way. But just like we've done, growing from a Queensland brand and expanding, nationally, then into New Zealand, then into the US and other markets, we want to prove that, this is an Australian built business that can be scaled anywhere to create a global fitness community.
Yeah. This is a bit of a side question.
Cool.
But what does a day-to-day look like for you? I know that would change being in the US, being wherever else, but if you could kind of lay that out, what does that look like? Yeah, look,
I'm a founder, which means my brain goes 1,000 miles an hour, just like Jace's. And you work with him, right? So you probably know how it is.
Very close.
Yeah. So for me, it's I'm a support person. I'm a support aide for the entire team. Obviously, I split my time to strategy and what's happening next. I spend a lot of time on our data. What our locations are doing. Like I said before, like usage. Attendance, what sessions are trending, what's happening in market. But I'm really close with our marketing team, our technology team, our fitness team. So if I had to say, if I had a title operationally, it would be more head of product, because that's my passion. I'm PT member focused first. But then from the other world, it's managing director and thinking strategy, setting up teams, and looking at future growth and opportunity. But yeah, I'm all things to all people. A lot of the time, if I'm in the office, because I love being a part of it, I love helping make quick decisions that are going to move the needle and make an impact.
Yeah, I can see a lot of similarities between you and Jace. It's always that forward thinking, those crazy ideas that the team initially go, oh my gosh, what are we in for? But then you trust the process, and then it always comes out on top, because it's solutions based, as you were saying. Like, I feel like I can always just go to Jace. I might be, like I said before, flustered. I'm like, what am I doing with this? And I'll just go to him. I go, what do I do here? Do that. Oh, duh. Like,
well, and it's the same, right? Like, you know, he was going to the screen printers, you know, half the time I was probably with him, picking up stock, going back to his mum's, unloading it into the container, going to the markets, you know, setting up stands. It's like, when you've done every element of the business, and he'd probably agree with this, like neither of us would be the experts in the room ever. That's why we have amazing teams now. But when you've done every element, you know enough to have a conversation and pull it back to the basics and go, hey, that's great, but if we just did this, this, and this, or I'm seeing this trend and I've been in this position before, when you've got no money and all you're reliant on is time, passion, energy, and opportunity, anything's possible. So, you know, when you then apply incredible team, some funds, you know, and the world to what your thinking is, it's pretty cool to be at that seat. So I'm definitely the same, but I think, again, probably the same as Jace, great people around us that go, hey, that's awesome, but let's just focus on these 2 or 3 things. So, you know, I can be in a team meeting and sit there and have 50 ideas or listen to some of the, you know, the challenges that we're having and have solutions immediately. But especially in franchising, it's a bigger moving beast. You've got to understand, you know, that level of complexity, the way we need to communicate, the systems that we need to train and educate on the way in, and bring the why. So there is process that you've got to follow.
And it's not just around revenue.
Yeah.
It's what is our mission and why do we wake up every morning?
Yeah.
And that's a great question for you. Like, what is your why?
Yeah, I think it's the same from the start. I fell in love with the idea and the process of, you know, being better. You guys talk about 1% better. You know, I'm addicted to performance progression, but probably more, it's like, how do I give more of that to more people? You know, we talk about, you know, move more to live more. I want to create a global fitness community so more people can do that. You know, you want to be people to be fit for life. I was really fortunate that, you know, I got to step into the fitness world and build out a career. And there's probably 2 parts to my why. One is create the global fitness community so more people can feel that as a member. But as business owners, business is challenging. We've got a proven system and a model now. And again, I want more people to experience it. I want more careers in the fitness space. I want to pay it forward as much as I possibly can. And nothing lights me up more than going to an open day, seeing a group, a community come together. You know, we've had open days with over 300 members. It blows my mind to think only a couple of years ago we were launching a Fitstop with 0 members. So we turn up to a Fitstop on open day and I get to do a little welcome speech out the front and, you know, be a part of the opening workout. You know, I still jump in and take workouts from time to time. You know, that's the stuff that really lights me up. Nothing beats an open day, and that's why we get up every single day. Yeah,
and you really do have a special community, because I've been out the front of a Fitstop or in a Fitstop with LSKD product, you know, talking to the community and getting involved. And I, you know, was a Fitstop member as well. And and it's just like, it's such a special community that you've built, and you absolutely need to be proud of that. So
yeah, thank you.
Well done.
Cool.
Now, if you could recommend or add a book to our library, what would it be? Yeah,
well, we have this sitting on our bookshelf in Fitstop. It's Legacy. You know, the All Blacks, I think they created, you know, such an amazing culture, you know, a championship team. So that's definitely one you guys probably already have that on your bookshelf.
We do, but it still absolutely needs to be recommended again, because it's I've read that one or listened to it, audiobooks, right?
Yes.
And yeah, it's an amazing one, hey?
Yeah, and then if it was a podcast, my go-to is Diary of a CEO or How I Built This.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're fascinating. You know, there's so many passionate people building businesses out there that just give you those little golden nuggets that you don't think of. But yeah, they're my go-tos.
Do you often read books again and again and get little bits and pieces from those, or are you like a one book, like read it once type of person? Yeah,
probably Legacy and Shoe Dog, probably the 2 that I've read 3 times now. And maybe it's not always the entire book, but I go searching. So, you know, we talked before about personal development and growth, and I'm constantly challenging myself to keep moving forward. I put myself in a position, I'm like, who do I need to be next? And not from a personality point of view, but where do I need to step into and how do I seek that information? So, you know, I'll go back to books or, you know, ask people for coffee or listen to a podcast, only searching for that piece, because my brain's a bit weird where if I just start listening to everything, then it's easy for me to become all things to all people.
Yeah.
I've got to go pretty narrow on that direction.
If you have a problem or something that you're facing, going back and seeing what was done in that situation.
Yeah, of course. Or even that next stage of growth for us. Like, I've got to learn how to take a business from Australia and try to plug it into the US. So who's done that before me? How do I learn from them? Is it a face-to-face? Have they published an article? Have they done a podcast? I love the Soul Cycle story. I really want to meet Julie Rice. I'm working on it. So if she's listening to this, have a coffee with me in the US. But there's some incredible brands, again, that have been there and done it that we want to learn from.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you so much for jumping in here. One, for doing the workout and helping us through that, because I needed some moral support through that one. But also, jumping in and having a conversation, because I think the Fitstop story is one that needs to be out there. It's so special, and the connection that you and Jace have, I mean, that's why we work so close together with Fitstop, is because you guys grew up together and now you're growing businesses together, and it just makes perfect sense. Our values, our goals align, and what a great place to do it, hey? Yeah, look, life should be fun. I think growing business is fun, especially when you get to share some of those synergies with mates and just great people in general. So thanks for having me. No, thank you.